project. Okay. So again, as I said, or you have already seen from the assessment, from the course share, group-based project include 3 submissions. The first submission is a proposal, which you have already done that. And the second submission will be the implementation. And the third submission will be the report. So due to the fact that some of you submitted the proposal is a bit off the track, so that's why that's why I emailed you guys yesterday, and then just to give you some hint, in order to be able to really make sure your project is on track. Because again, first the idea should be right? We have to start right. If the proposal itself is off the track, for sure, there will be impossible you implement a right API or you finish the project in good shape. Stephen, what do you have any question? Stephen?
Should I meet you today after class?
I guess so. But before you meet me, just to check the email and see what you could do, whether you are able to follow the hint and the steps you do it and have better understanding about the proposal. And then, so if you still not quite sure, yes, feel free to come to see me. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. So today we need to finish 2 tasks. First, just to show you how to containerize your API. And then so we publish it to the ECS, okay, AWS ECS. And then so after that, I'm just to show you how we are able to consume the API, which means we implement a client to consume the API, which we just published to the ECS. So from the course shell and then the week 10, and you can see I already upload workable to do API. Okay, workable to do API, and you can just download this one first. Okay, download this one first. Steven, what question?
No question. I just keep getting kicked out and then disconnected.
Okay, so I just okay, yeah, because you anyway. So first we talk about another service which we will use, which provided by AWS for sure, which is called AWS Elastic Container Service. And basically, AWS provides a set of container services. Let us just log into the AWS account. And then so we can see, yes, there's a bunch of service about, related to the container. if we see the service and we take a look at the container, where's the container? Okay, so here we go. So here is the containers, okay? So that actually this one, Red Hat OpenShift service, if I do not make mistake, it's just appear here from last week. But anyway, so for this course, we will mainly focus on these two: Elastic Container Registry and the Elastic Container Service. In week 14, we will very briefly talk about Kubernetes. Okay, and then so here is, so basically there's a bunch of service there, 4 of them. Okay, again, as I mentioned, the last one is just appeared, I think, last week. But anyway, so Amazon provides a set of container services, and one is Elastic Container Registry. Another is Elastic Container Service, and the third one will be the Elastic Kubernetes Service. Again, as I said, today I will just show you how we are able to use this ECR and ECS. And week 14, we were very briefly talking about Kubernetes. So registry, okay. So when we just use a doc, we already know if we do not explicitly specify the repository and registry, and Docker Hub will be by default, Docker Hub will be the one, okay, will be the one. And then so the ECR or Elastic Container Registry is an alternative for Docker Hub. We already know Docker Hub basically is what? For the public, right? Available to public. ECR is actually is a service provided by AWS, and this is for developer to store, manage, and deploy container images and artifacts. So alternative, again, as we mentioned, is really just an alternative for Docker Hub and a part of AWS ecosystem. And yes, this will really integrate well with other AWS service. This one is, like we mentioned before, so we always try our best to use what we in terms of technology, and then because a different company has different the product. Okay, so let's say when we're talking about RDS, okay, relational database, we already know there are a bunch of relational database management system available there. Oracle, MySQL, maybe Informax, and then some Microsoft SQL Server. So that's why, because this course we mainly focus on C#, which is Microsoft technology. So that's why when we just are talking about RDS, and when you do your lab and when you do your project, we strongly recommend you to use Microsoft SQL Server. So just try to avoid a possible or potential incompatibility. Okay. So here is very much. So here ECR, yes, for sure it is, because it is AWS service, and then so it is well integrated with AWS other services. Okay, so that's one is, I think, is a common sense. Okay. And then so here is give you some idea. This is architecture, and give you some idea where the AWS ECR located and how it works with other AWS services. Okay, so here again, as we mentioned, here is ECR. This is a registry, right? It is a registry, so for sure it actually used to store your image and be able to manage your image life cycle and manage your image artifact. Okay. And then, so yes, here is can run in this image. Yes, for sure, it's run in what? It's run on containers. And then, so here is, yes, that's why we mentioned that one is very, integrated with ECS, is integrated with EKS and other AWS cloud service. Today we will mainly focus on just to show you, yes, how ECR has already been integrated very well, or we say seamlessly with Amazon ECS. Okay. So first is registry, okay? And the second, we're talking about AWS Elastic Container Service. So it is highly scalable, fast container management service that makes it easy to run, stop, and manage Docker containers on a cluster of Amazon EC2 instances, okay? And so first we talk about the key component, very briefly talking about the key components of ECS. First is cluster. Okay, so a large grouping of compute resources. So for here, majority of time the compute resources is actually talking about the EC2 instances. And the task. And what is a task is instantiation of task definition within a cluster. And then here is schedule is places tasks on your cluster. And what is a service? The service is runs and maintains a specified number of instances of task definition simultaneously. Container agent is runs on each compute node within a ECS cluster. And this one you may think, yeah, I'm not quite sure. Yes, because based on this very brief definition, yes, it's not easy for us to understand, but I'm just using example to demonstrate it and help us to understand better when we really just like to publish our to-do API to ECS, okay, to ECS. And so what a cluster, and then so the tasks and service run on infrastructure that is registered to a cluster. And the infrastructure can be provided in 3 different ways, okay? So the first way, yes, is maybe traditional, maybe we just do on-premise server or virtual machine. And this is not what we like, okay? The second one is Amazon EC2 instances, but in this case, it is you to maintain it or to manage that one, okay? So finally, the third one is AWS Fargate. And we will just use that one because in this case, the infrastructure is provided by AWS Fargate and is fully managed by AWS. We don't need to worry about how to maintain it. And when let's say when one instance, when one service is shut down, somehow crash, and then so how we are able to make sure another service is available. Okay. So in this case, make another service available. But for this kind of things, if we were just using EC2 instances straight away, and then for sure we do not like use that one because there's too much work, management work there, and maintain work there as well. So that's why for this course, when we say we like to publish our API, containerized API to AWS, to ECS, and we will just use AWS Fargate, okay? So here is a task definition. So basically, this is a JSON file. Okay, so that describes what container launch for your application. The good thing here is all these things will be defined or generated by automatically when we deploy it. Okay, when we deploy it, and then so. Again, as I said, we just like to, with that one, we like to use what? Fargate, okay? So Fargate just delegate infrastructure management to AWS. It automatically launches containers, and we will just use that one, okay? So AWS Fargate is, for sure, is another AWS service, okay? For sure, it will be another AWS service. Here is the Fargate architecture, okay, architecture. And then so here is, it is what, you can see we have what, basically, for the product version, for sure, at least two service, okay, at least two service. And then so here you can see we have what, like in two different availability zone. We're already very familiar with the availability zone, okay? So here is first is region, and we just choose what, availability zone. And then so here is, let's say, here is Elastic Network Interface, and here is the task, okay? This task is actually the executable image, okay? Executable image. And then so the image can be in the like stored in any container registry. It could be ECI, it could be Docker Hub, but for this course, and then we will just use ECR, okay? And then so here is each of them is just what, is just a sort of the service. Okay, I will just show you. And in terms of deployment and management tools, we have already very familiar with Elastic Beanstalk, which you use it in Lab Suite, right? And this one is belong to platform as a service. But today we will just use AWS Fargate, and it belongs to container as a service. Okay, container as a service. And then so now I'm just like to what, go through the steps step by step. Okay, go through this, and then so let's see how we are able to what, how we are able to publish the containerized API to the AWS ECS. Okay, to the AWS ECS. But first, in order to be able to do it, can you just go to the course shell and download it? Okay, you download this again. As I said, you download this to do API, and you unzip it, and you just open it in the Visual Studio, and we just start from there. Okay, so have you already downloaded it? Not sure. Can you just download it? Make sure we really become familiar with the steps, because we need to do it step by step, and also you need to do it for your project. Okay, group-based project, your web API, your implemented web API need to publish to the container. Okay, let me just show you. And with marking rubric. Okay, if we just take a look here, basically I'm just show you every single step when you do what you need to. Okay, so today first we're talking about this part. Okay, show you containerize your web API and publish to AWS. Okay, and also today we will just show you implement a client. These two things. And then so this 3 we were talking about next week. Okay, we were talking about next week. But for others and for the implementation, yes, I already showed you last week, right? I already showed you last week how we are able to do that step by step. Okay. Okay. Have you already downloaded? Have you already downloaded?
Professor, we don't have a week 10 content. Can you please
really?
publish? Yeah.
Sorry. Let me see. Yeah, this time should be okay. Sorry about it. And also, you get it, right?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, thank you. Let me know. Okay, I forget to make it public. Okay, anyway, so download there, download and unzip. Download and unzip, and then so open it in the Visual Studio. Okay, I just also I know some of you have already have these things, but just in case. Okay, just in case. So that's why I just upload there. Have you already download and launch? Open in the Visual Studio. Just to let me know. But first thing first, let us go to the your IM user and make sure you have, because we need to the ECS will just create a role for us. So in this case, your IM user need to have what? Need to have administrator. Need to have administrator permission, okay? Because otherwise, we're not able to. The ECS not able to publish, process, or the Fargate not able to create a role for us, because we already know the user with administration access is what? Is basically it allow it to do anything, okay? To do anything, including what? Including manage your IM user, IM service, okay? So because of this, I am just because here I'm just add this administrator access after you publish successfully, and you can what? You can just detach it, remove that part, okay? Remove this permission. After we successfully publish, and we need to remove this part, okay? Remove or detach this policy, because that one is too much power, okay? Too much power. This is the first. Make sure your IM user has what? Has proper permission, okay? Has proper permission. I repeat one more time. It's just because the reason why I just add this administrator access is just because we need to the Fargate need to generate what? Need to generate or create a role, okay? Create a role for us, and for the create a role, create IM user, which is IM service, okay? And normally, it is only those user who with administrator access be able to create a user, create a role, create a group, and all these things, okay? So this is first. You get my point? Okay, so first you need to make sure that part, okay? Are you with me? Have you already downloaded? Okay, you already download API zip file, right? The package. Yes or no? Are you ready? Let me know when you're ready. Because I'd like you to be able to follow me the step by step, okay? Are you ready? If you're ready, we just like to go ahead. We launch, you open the API, to do API in the Visual Studio. And make sure your IM user has what? Administrator access permission. This is the first thing, okay? So now, people, are you ready, right? Okay. Are you ready? Good. Okay. So now we already do that one. Have already done this part. Okay. So now let me just where's my view? Where's my AWS Explorer? I am using US East Ohio. The reason why I just use that one because I myself accidentally delete the default VPC in North Virginia. And then so I always experience some issues. So finally I decided to just to use what? Just to use US East to Ohio. If you just go here, go to your service, and you can take a look at the VPC. I have in Ohio, my VPC is default VPC. Okay, it's pretty good. Okay, so here is, can you see this VPC is the default one, and here is yes, that specify this is a default one. Okay. And also it has six subset, okay, subnet. So because of this, okay, so now that's why I choose this US East Ohio. Okay, that's the reason why I choose this one. And then so now we just like to make it what an add Docker support. We did that one a couple weeks ago, okay, when we're talking about the Docker, okay, containerization. And then so first because of this, and then so the Docker file will be added for us, okay. Again, as I said, I'm just to choose what? I'm just to choose Linux, and because the Docker, otherwise I need to change the Docker to what? Windows, okay. The good thing here is because we're using .NET 5, which is cross-platform, that is okay. So I'm just to choose Linux. And then so because of this, and you can this will what you can see here is just to try to do these things, okay, checking the container prerequisite and verifying this, and it generate what? It generate the image, okay, generate the image. And then so I just need to click show that one, okay. Okay, so now here this the image has already what? Has already generated. And then so you can see if I am just to go to my Docker Hub, okay, Docker desktop. If I'm come here, and it's just a container, because this one is I did that one yesterday. Okay, let me just stop this and remove here. Okay, so here is, and also I'm just like to delete Okay, so here is the image. I have a bunch of image. The first one, can you see here? This one is what? Minute ago, right? Okay. And then, so I have this, no. Okay, so we can, yes, we can run it locally. Let's see. Let's see when we run it locally, everything is okay or not. Okay, here we go. We already very familiar with that one, all right? We try out and we run, and yes, we already get this one, the sample data here. Okay, so that means what? The containerization process has already been successfully. Okay, so now what we like to do here is what? Is just to publish the container. Okay, publish that one, and then so here is click on this, and then so publish container to AWS. Okay, to AWS. Take a look the something. Okay, so very briefly, just to go through this part. The credential, AWS credential is, yes, we're already very familiar with that one, is profile. Okay, so the region I'm just using US East 2, which is Ohio. The reason why I use East 2, I already explained to you, is just because the VPC issue, because I just accidentally removed the default VPC in my US East 1. So here is configuration. On the Docker image build, this Docker repository and all the things. Okay, we just choose the default one. Okay, and in terms of deployment target, you can see that one support a bunch of deployment target. Okay, so here we just like to deploy the service on ECS cluster. Okay. So deployed application service on an Amazon Elastic Container Service cluster. A service is for application, like a web application that are intended to run indefinitely. Okay, so this is first, and second, run task on a ECS cluster, and then so schedule task on our ECS cluster. Push only the Docker image to Amazon Elastic Container Registry. That's not what we do. What we like to do is a service, deploy the service on our ECS cluster. Okay, the first one. Are you with me? Guys, are you with me? Hello. Okay, so good. And then so we just choose what? The default one. Okay, so default one is already enough. Here I'm just like to change a little bit because I like to I already have these things, and then so that's why I'm just choose what? Section we are 001. Okay, I'm just to choose that one. The tag is also, I didn't put tag there, but you just, guys, you just choose the default one. Okay, the default one is already enough, because the reason why I just changing it is just because I already have this to do API in my, you can see, I'm just to show you. Okay, so here is, we have container registry. You can see because I already have it, okay? I already have it, so that's why I'm just like to change a little bit, okay? So here I just change into the what? Docker repository dash section 001, okay? But for you, you can just use the default one, is already good enough for you. Click next. So here is the cluster. Okay. For you, I'm just like, or let's say we just like to create a cluster. Okay. ECS cluster for to do a PI 001. Okay. I'm just to use this. And then so you can see here is what? Creating an empty cluster, which is suitable for running Fargate-based services and tasks. It will not have any easy-to instance register to it, so services and tasks with EC2 will not run. The easiest way to create is to use the web AWS Web Console, but I'm just like to do that here. Okay. So this is first. The second, the launch type is Fargate. Okay, it's Fargate. For us here right now, only this is the only option. Okay, this is the only option. We said that here is Fargate will automatically provision the necessary compute capacity needed to run the application based on the CPU and memory settings. This removes the need to add any EC2 instances to your cluster, which is good. Okay. So in terms of, here is we like allocate compute capacity, because our example is very simple. So the minimum is already enough for us. Can you see here? Okay. I'm just to choose the minimum. By default, it's just provided the minimum one. Okay. So here is, yes, the memory is also minimum one, and the compute is also power is also minimum one. Here is a VPC subnet. Okay. So here is VPC. And then so you can see here is, because for us, the VPC need to be what? The subnet. Okay. VPC subnet. And then, so here is, I'm just for the Ohio, East 2, I only have one VPC, which is the default VPC. And then, so the default VPC here, that has what? I'm just to choose ABC, but maybe I can just change it. Okay. So here is availability zone. Okay. Availability zone here is 2A, 2B, 2C. Okay. ABC. And the map public IP is true. Okay, it's true. And then so I just change it. Okay, so let's say here if I'm just to use the default one, I guess you should be able to. You can see a list of 6 different subnet. Is that right? You are able to see 6 subnet. Is that right? Okay. And then, so for me, I'm just because I have already done that part, and then so by default they already choose what? They already choose those subnet I chose last time. Okay. And then, so here is, we already know what is a subnet. We already know what is a security group. Okay. So make sure assign public IP address. Okay. So click next. And then, so here is, we just like to what? We just like to create a service. Okay. So here is, I'm just a service. Here is 001. Okay, I'm just change it. And then, so the number of tasks, I'm just to choose what? Instead of say 1, and we just choose 2, and in case, okay? Just in case one somehow crash, another one will be able to take over. Okay, so for the others, minimum healthy percent, maximum healthy percent, I'm just like keep as it is. We click next. So here is we need to what? We need to configure the load balance. Okay, so that's why we need to check that one. And then so load balancer, we create one. And then so here is LB. This is, I'm just But for you, you can just use the whatever they provided. Okay. So here is what target group for this. Okay. And then for others, again, we just keep as it is. Just click next. And then, so now we need to what? We need to define the task and also provide the task name and provide the container name. Okay, container name. And then, so are you with me, guys? You're with me, right? You're able to follow, right? Okay, so here is, so we just create a new one, okay? Here is 001 and the container here is, okay, I'm just saying choose task and I'm just name it container to do API, okay? So here is the platform. I'm just a user Redis. And then, so here is a task role. Okay, we need to have permission. Okay. And then, so first, I'm just like to choose what? I'm just like to choose this one. Using the Power User Access. Okay, use the Power User Access and create this new task role. Okay, task role. And then, so for others, we just keep as it is. We can just publish. Click on publish, and then so you can see in the very beginning, the first one need to create IAM role. Okay, need to create IAM role. Again, as I said, that's why we need to make sure your IAM user has what? Your IAM user has administrator access permission. Okay, so but after we successfully published, we just detach the permission. Okay, in other words, we revoke this permission. Okay, we revoke it. And then, so if you see the very beginning, it takes a little while, but I'm just like to explain to you a little bit. So here is, again, as we mentioned, because this, it need to create a task and create a role. Okay, has already created a role. And then, so here is need to fetch in the security, all these things. Okay. And then, so here is, after that, it is what? Can you see this one right now? It is pushing the image to ECR repository. We're talking about ECR. We're talking about ECS. Okay, so ECR. It is keep on doing it. Takes a little while. Okay, it takes a little while. And then, so, but if we just come here, I hope because the image has already pushed here. Can you see here? The image is already here. Okay. This is the image has already pushed to where? Has already pushed to the ECR, Elastic Container Registry. Okay. And so we can, after we see this one, and then so basically the image is already ready. Okay, it's already ready. And then so here we already know we are able to let's say if we just go to the this is in our ECR. If you like to pull this image to local, and then say what can we do? And then say here, I'm just to show you. I guess some of you have already know that, so that's why I'm going to briefly show you. Okay, here is the version I'm using right now. Here is it's supposed to be dash. Okay. Okay, so here's the version I have. Okay, so we can just pull. Okay, so let's say we can do what we can docker image. Let's just see, are we able to pull? Okay, so here is we need to specify what? We need to specify the target. Okay, so here I'm just like to pull this from here. This URL, okay? And then so in this case, I suppose to, because we said if we do not explicitly specify, and then so the Docker will just try to go find this image from where? From the Docker Hub. Okay, I hope it works. Are we able to pull it? So in this case, yes, we have already pulled it up. Okay, so now we have already have to do API section 001. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so basically we already see this. Okay, we already see that one here. Okay, so we get it a few minutes ago. So this is just to give you a way. Okay, so if the image is in ECR, are we able to get it? Pull it to the local. Okay, so yes, it can. I already show you that one. Okay, you can't see the screen. Oh gosh. You cannot see it from very beginning. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, yeah. But anyway, you can see it now, right? Okay, so here, what I'm saying here is you can see this part, right? This image, and this one has, because from here, you can see this one means what? The image has already pushed to here, okay? Push it to the ECR US to Amazon AWS.com, okay? So because this one has already tell me, okay, so that's why we can just back to the Amazon ECR repository, okay? And then, so bear in mind, this is what? The private. So for sure, you're not able to see my repository, right? Okay. So here is, we get what? We get a repository, and this is an image, okay? Image name. And here is what? Here is the URI. And based on, we can specify this API, a URI, we are able to what? We're able to pull it, okay? Take a look at this. I'm just provide the URI of your image. And then, so yes, the image has already pulled to local. Okay, so you can see here is the local one. Okay, does it make sense? So this time, yes, okay, thank you for letting me know. So now you see all the things, right? And then so, yeah, as we mentioned, as we mentioned, yes. So when we just publish to publish the container to the AWS, and then so all the image has already stored in what? ECR instead of Docker Hub. Okay. Same, but I'm also show you how we are able to get the image which is stored in the ECR. Does it make sense? So we just say, let's say we if I just say Docker run hello, I think hello world. I think hello world. And yes. Okay. So this time, because not able to find it locally, and it will what? You can see it will automatically find from where? It automatically find from Docker Hub. Okay? Docker Hub. So we already mentioned, because the Docker Hub is what? Is the public, repository, used to store image. The reason why we store image to ECR is just because, as we mentioned, when we just publish by using Fargate, which is what? Really, we just use all AWS. We just use AWS services. Okay. So because ECR is a types of AWS service which is used to store image. So that's why a moment ago in our PPT we mentioned what? We mentioned here. So the ECR has already what? Really seamlessly integrated with other AWS services. So you can see here, the ECR has already seamlessly integrated with ECS and with AWS Fargate. Okay? You got it? Okay, good. And then but you can what? You can get this image from, again, as we mentioned, you can pull this image to local, and then so if you like, yes, you can push this image to Docker Hub. Okay? You get my point? You pull it to locally, and you just push it to your Docker Hub. Is it still okay? Make sense? Okay, but when you do your project, you need to deploy or publish your container to AWS by using Fargate. Okay, by using AWS Fargate. Okay, so this is the steps you need to do for your group-based project. Okay, for your group-based project. And let me just refresh it and see. Yes, this one has already done. Okay. So now I can see what? I can see here is URL. Okay. And then also, where we are able to find this URL also, if we just go to where? Go to your EC2, I guess. And then so we go to, there is no EC2 instance here because we use a Fargate, okay? But we are able to, if we just go to the load balancing and choose the first one, okay? So here is load balancers. This saves money, okay, guys? And because only when there is request coming, and then so the computer power will just process it. Okay. So here is this one I did yesterday. Okay. So now I'm just use what? Let's go to, has already published, right? And then so let's go here. Because I'm just using API, here is what? To do items. That one's supposed to get all the items. Is that right? I hope it works. Let me see whether it works, okay? It's supposed to work. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. This one. Supposed to be this one. Let's see. Oh, sorry. This is API to do items. Really? Let's take a look. Interesting. Let's just try this one. To do items. Yeah. This we get the result. How come that one doesn't work? Let me try one more time. Here is use this. Okay. So here is API. Here is to do items. Yes, it works. Okay. So so how many of you the published one works as we expected? Does any one of you successfully publish it? It takes a little while, but you just well, it is this way. Okay. And then Sanjip, it works for you. Slow device. Okay, so how about you, Shaminda? Okay, so if you just keep on rolling, you can just click refresh, and then so you should be able to see. Okay. But for sure still no, slow device and waste your time. Maybe you get a new device. Anyway, so here is just to show you how we are able to publish the container to AWS Fargate. The way how we just do it, very much. There's a slight difference between Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, Elastic. Do you remember Elastic Beanstalk? We just use EC2 instances, but here we do not consume any EC2 instance, which is really good because later we were talking about the serverless. The AWS Fargate belongs to serverless service, okay? And then so in this case, only when we issue a request, and then so this API process the request and generate response and back send a response back. And only this time we are using what? We are using AWS service, and we will just be charged, okay? But if your API just sit there, there's no charge. That's we call the serverless, okay? But anyway, we will talking about later in more details. So from here, you can see we do not have, you can see here is EC2 instances. I do not have any EC2 instances here, okay? What I have is what? Is just a, I'm just using load balancer, and then some also we already see a bunch of things here. Okay, so here is again ECR contain elastic container registry. We already see that one. And then, so if we take a look at the clusters, I'm pretty sure because I'm already have two cluster, okay? Two cluster, this one and another one, and but both of them the Fargate, okay? And then, so here is task definition. You can see I'm already have what? 3 tasks. Okay, so this task, we can take a look. And here is what? You can see the JSON format, okay? So here is the, you can see the task has already what? Automatically generated for us, right? Has automatically generated for us. And then, so here, if we just manually do that, yes, somehow we may just pretty easy to make mistake, right? And then, so here, if you like, you can what? Create, if you, for the task, you can what? You can, basically, you can create a new task by using their tools, okay? But this task, do you remember we just provide a task name, and the whole, the Fargate has already generated task definition for us, which is really good thing. Okay, so now we're already talking about what? We're not talking about the cluster. We're talking about the task definition. And then, so we're talking about, I think one more thing here is what? I can't remember. Okay, so maybe we just take 5 minutes break and we're back. And now we will move to the another part of the content, which is just to show you how we are able to implement a client to consume the API which has already published in AWS Fargate, okay, in AWS Fargate. We're back at 9:40. I hope when we're back, your published containerized API will be ready for you, okay? Hello? Listen back. So, does any one of you, your published API works? Hi. Are you there? It works or not? Have you already successfully published your containerized API or not? It's okay, right? Okay. Okay. So yeah. It's okay. So now I'm like to show you how we are able to consume the API, implement an application to consume the API. But I'm just to simplify it. I'm just implement a console app to do it. Okay, it's just to show you the way how we are able to consume the API. Okay, consume the API. Let me just do this. By the way, it is today is already week 10. Okay. Okay, so how we are able to consume the RESTful API? So there are several ways to do it. The first one, we just use HTTP web request and the web response class. But that one is flagged as obsolete, so which means when we just implement a brand new application, we always try to avoid it, okay? Try to avoid obsolete technology for sure, right? And the second way, we just use a web client class, very simple, but it can only what? It can only allow us to make a GET request. It does not support post request and put request and delete request. So for sure, we will not use that one. The last one is HTTP client class. The newest one, it only support asynchronous method for sending requests. Okay, so that's why when you implement your API, for sure, because as we mentioned, you just get or invoke or get the do things remotely or in other words through the internet or intranet. We say when we're talking about asynchronous programming, we know this is one of the classic scenario to use asynchronous programming. Okay, so that's why I recommend you. I'm always show you all the examples I showed you is what we just use asynchronous programming. Okay. So I'm just like to again just to show you step by step and then show how we are able to do that one. Okay. So I'm just like to close it. And then, so this time, I'm just like to create a new project. But I'm just to use a console app just to demonstrate the idea. Okay, the fundamental skills. But in your group-based project, you can implement WPF app, or you can implement mobile app, or you can implement a web app to consume the API which you have already published, which you have already implemented, have already published. Okay, so I'm just using console app. The console app, I'm just to choose this one. Okay, so .NET Core, and then so here I'm just use let's say console app. Here is what client for let's say API. Okay, to do API 001 client. Okay, because we are section 001, I need to distinguish that one. Okay, so I'm just to click next. Again, I'm always what for this course, I'm always the target is .NET 5. Okay, So this very simple. You did that one since programming one, right? And then so now first we need to add a package. Okay, add one package, and this package is Microsoft. Microsoft SP Net Web API Client. Okay. Choose this, and here is the latest version. This latest version is I think is 5.2. I can just choose this one. Okay, so this one has already done. Okay, install that one. The thing here is, let's say, because we need to have what? We need to have the model class, which is really the data model from where? From the API, right? From the API. So now because we are the one who developed this API. It's okay. We know the to-do items class, right? But how about you are not a developer. You do not have this model class. What can we do? So basically, we can do here. Okay. So let's say I just get the third items. Let me see the third items. Okay, here is the third items. I can what? Can you see here is the JSON file, right? We can copy it. Okay, we can copy the JSON file, right? Okay, we copy that one, and then so here, let's say I'm just like to say the. Let's say I'm just add model class, okay? Here is normal class. I'm just say model class, but for sure from the metadata we already know the model class name, right? Let's say to do item, okay? And then so from here we are able to take a look. If we just edit here, we have special we are able to paste JSON as classes. Okay, so you can see here that straight away have already get the old ID name is complete or not. Does it make sense? So this time we already get what? Okay, I'm just use this one as what? To do item, and we already get this based on the data return. Based on the data return, we are able to get this model class. Are you with me? Are you able to generate the model class based on the JSON? Based on the JSON file, which is returned by what? You can see we just get this third items, and then so we get this data, and based on this JSON file, we copy that one based on this JSON file. We are able to create or generate the class. Okay, this is the easy way. But for sure, if you like, you can just copy paste. But bear in mind that this one is the practical. This method is, this way is the practical way to do it because, again, as I said, in reality, we have no clue about the model class. We do not have the model class. Okay, we do not have the model class, and then but for sure we know the structure, right? Based on the let me just see the swagger. Okay, let's see, I'm able to get it or not. Let me try. I didn't try that one. It's I guess here is swagger index HTML. I hope it works. How come it's nothing here? Oh, okay. It seems I'm not able to get this. It's okay. So that's why when we're talking about managing the API, we need to how we are able to enable the metadata. Okay. Okay, I will just show you next week. Okay, so how we are able to enable the metadata so that the outside be able to get it. Okay, so we have already have this data model, but for sure, normally, here is the convention, right? For C#, we always like what? The property name is always start with capital letter, right? Okay, and we already have it. Okay, so now we need to use what? We need to use HTTP class. Okay, let's say I am just to use HTTP client. Here is what I need to take. Okay, so HTTP client, I'm just going to name it as a client and a new HTTP client. Okay, so we need to what? Instantiate an object of HTTP client because we mentioned a moment ago we just use this HTTP client class. Okay, and then so if we just go to the definition, I hope we are able to see the go to the implementation. I'll be able to. Okay, let me just use that one. And then, so if I'm just use the HTTP client, we can do what? Let me see. Okay, so I am just like to consume. Yeah, first I need to specify because the client we also need to specify the base URL. Okay, so let me just copy paste here. Example is my example. Oops. Okay, so this one. Let me just copy paste here. Okay. Here is. Let me just use this part. Copy paste. The thing here is I need to static, okay, and then say here I need to use the what the specified because we're using asynchronous programming, right? So for sure we need to have system threading tasks. And let me just see here. Okay, so everything's okay. We mentioned we need to have what? We need to have an object of HTTP client. And then, so the client need to specify the base address. Okay, the base address here, I'm just using, okay, let me just use not this one because this is not one we published today. I'm using, let me just use this. Okay, so here is 001. Okay, you can see we're using, yeah. To do API 001, okay? This is the base address, base URL. And then so we specify the accepted header, request header, to be the type is application JSON, okay? And then so let's see, I'm just use the first one, okay? Let me just comment it out. Let me just uncomment it. And then so this is like to get everything. Uncomment. Okay. And then so in this case, because I'm using, I'm also using what? I'm also use the so here is generic. Here is item. What happened here? The item. Why the item has a problem? The item to do item. Yes. Class to do item. We do have class to do item. Let's see. Yes, we do have this one. This is a public. A local permanent cannot be declared in this because the name is used in, okay, so has already used in somewhere. Let me see. Oh, okay, so yes, no wonder. Sorry, I commented out. This time is okay now. Okay. So let's say if I'm just to use create. Okay, so let's see. Go to the definition. Go to the implementation. Are we able to do that one? Okay, let me just go to the find all reference. Let's see. We're able to. Okay, so let me just use that one. Easy. We take a look at this document, okay? So here is the document. This is the HTTP client class. Okay, so here is the properties. We have what? Here's the properties. Where's the property? Yes. And then so here is, we have a bunch of what? Methods, okay? So the method here, it support what? You can see get. Okay, so here's a get method. Get async. Here is post. And then so here is, where's that one? Yeah, here is put method. Okay. But they have what? You can see they have different versions, okay? They have different versions. And we have what? I think the last one's supposed to be delete. Okay, so here we go. And also they have a list of what? A list of overloaded method. Okay, overloaded method. And then so because of this, so first we need to specify the base address. Okay, it's a base address. And then so we need to specify request headers, default request headers accepted. So now I'm just talking about application JSON, okay? And then so, yeah, we already have a base address. And then so right now we need to provide for this is based on what? For this for sure is, where we get this one for sure is from the metadata, right? From the metadata. And then so we already know this. And then so we like to what? Yes, invoke it. Okay. So for sure this is what? Yes, because we're using a sync method, invoke a sync method, and we need to put a wait here. And then so after that, we just like to what? We just like to print out whatever the returned information, okay? The returned information. And then so otherwise, if that is the success status code is false, and which means we do not get the result, right? Okay, let's see. Let us run this. See. Okay, so here is forget to invoke this method, right? Wait, here is run a sync. And then so because of this main method also need to be a sync method, okay? So we can run it. Hope it works. Okay. Invalid format of URI. The format of URI could not be determined. Okay, let me see. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Let me try one more time. Yes. Yeah, supposed to be okay. Is this one? Okay, so you can see when we just printed out this underline, we already know it will invoke toString method, but I forget this part, okay? So it's just it's just a to-do item there, okay? So I need to modify these to-do items. We need to provide what? toString method, okay? toString method. I'm just like to be a bit lazy and copy paste, okay? Just to provide the toString method here. And this time should be okay. I'm just printed out ID, name, and is complete or not. Okay, so try one more time. Oh, internal server error. Oh, really? So that's why we say is when we just do things, we can because we get information through the internet. Somehow we may just need to try, right? Try one more time, and this time you can see it is okay. So we get all the informations there. And if I'm just back to the client here is what API. to do items. Let's see whether we get exactly the same information what we have here. It's the same, right? Lab 1, 2, lab 2, 2, lab 3, 2, lab, group-based project is false. Okay? So this time is really we get it what? We get it from the API, which has already been published in AWS, okay? And this is the first, we already tried the first one, okay? And then so we can try the second one. The second one, we, again, as I said, when you do your project, you need to try all this, test all the methods you provided in API, okay? Get the first one, I just like to comment it out. And the first one works, right? I just comment it out and take a look at the second one. Take a look at the second one, which is what? What we like to do here is we just like to get what? We like to get here a sync, okay? So a sync, and here is what? Yes, for sure we need to provide the URI as well, okay? So the ID, I'm just like to say, I'm just like to get the item, to do item with the ID is a 4, okay? With the ID is 4. And then so let me run it and see whether I'm able to get the right result, okay? This, as you can see, again, as we mentioned, use this one. The fundamental thing here is the UI, okay? Fundamental thing here is UI, but because we already mentioned, it is based on the UI, this request will be forwarded to the right method within right controller, okay? Within right controller. Okay, let me just run it. Okay, so very straightforward, right? Hope it works. Okay, so now we get the return item is group-based group project, which is it has not completed yet. So let's back to here. Okay, so this one is do items. Here is what? 4, right? I hope it works. I'm able to get it. Yes, yeah, we get exactly the same thing. Okay, but for sure, one thing I'd like to point it out here, guys. API, web API is a DLL, right? It is not a executable application, okay? It's not an executable application. And then, so that's why we need to, we like to consume this data by implement a client, and it is your client to process those data, okay? To process those data. Yeah, this is what? The second one, okay? And it works, right? It works. And then, so let's see the post. Let us see the post. So the post, when we post it, we need to add what? We need to provide, again, let's see, comment it out. Here is, I am just like to comment this one. Using, oh, not this. Let me see here. Okay, so content, syntax. So in this case, what we like to do, we see here, yes, we just like to post async. Okay, so if we just back to the specification post, here is the post. Okay, so send a post request to the specified URI as a synchronous operation. So here is, you can see there's a different version. Okay, so right now I am just like to use this one. Okay, and so URI, and then not this one, it's this one. Okay, so let's say here this is a string. Okay, and then here is the content. Here we just use the first. This is the to-do item. And then so because before we send it out, we need to we may just like to convert this one, serialize this one as a JSON. Okay, as JSON. And then so that's why I'm just to use a JSON convert. Okay. And then so I'm just the content is the form, the data itself, and the encoding and the format. Okay, I'm just using like here is a JSON. Okay, so let's see whether it works. If I am just like to use post async. Okay, let us see. Okay, so now let me just run it. Here is I'm just like to add lab 4, and is complete, is a false. Let's see whether it works. It has already created. Okay, so has been inserted. Let's take one more look here. This one, I'm just to get everything. Let's see. Yes, so here you can see this one has already inserted. So that's why when we get all items, yes, it returns. Okay. And then so here is, you can see I'm also provide another way. We can, it's up to you. We can use what? We can use post as a JSON async. Okay, post as a JSON async. And then so this time we just straight away provide what? Provide item. But this method will generate, will just convert it. Okay, convert this item of to-do item to JSON format. But anyway, so you can just use this one. Okay, so here is, let's say the client. Are we able to use, how come I'm not able to find, okay, so let's see. HTTP client plus C# and then so let's say post just this method. Okay, to show you the, hope be able to find this, find the specification. Okay, so yes, so basically we are able to use this one. I think is a little bit too old. Let's see. Yes, you can. Here is, you can, maybe you can just watch this one. Okay, so just to explain to you the two different way to post it. Okay, So let me just include this video, this pretty new video, okay? And just put here. Okay, so I'm just put here, and then so it might be easier for you to take a look there, okay? So, but so provide you what? Another option, whichever the way, two options you can do, whichever the way you like, okay? So this is the post, and then so finally, how about we just like to comment it out? We like to what? We like to modify it, okay? We like to modify it. So here is, let's say modify here. We like to modify here, and then so also I provide two way to do it, okay? But I'm just like provide you first way, okay? I commented the second way, okay? I commented out, and then so here this is the what? Group-based project. I just like to change its complete from false to true. And we provide the whole item, okay? So here is put async, and then so we run it, okay? Let's see, let's take a look here. Here is the data right now. Here is the false, right? Let me see, here is the false. And then so let us see, we try to change it, okay? Let's just run it. Hope it works. Really takes that long? I doubt it. How come it takes so long? Shouldn't be. Is there anything wrong? Shouldn't that long? Okay, let me just stop here. Let me just like to what? Make breakpoint here, okay? Because it shouldn't be that long. Okay, so now the item is right. This item and this one is okay. This response right now is num. Yes, the content. Here is the content. Here is, if you see this, here is the content. Here is the head and all these things. Okay. So now, just like F11. Yes, so see the response. Okay, so response here. Yeah, is success status code. How come it is a false? Internal version, internal server error. Oh, really? No wonder. Yeah. Let's see. No wonder that one takes so long. It takes that a long time. Okay, let's see. Let us see whether that one. Oh, can you see this one has some little problem here? Okay. Yeah. So right now, a moment ago, there's a little problem here. Let me just try one more time. Okay. Yep. That one is just to say put to succeed, right? That's the way. That's the way I'm just like to demonstrate to you. Yeah, from time to time, because this is it shouldn't be that unstable. I'm not quite sure. I plan to read to try to find out some articles on some materials and see why we just like to I experience this kind of issues. Okay, last one is pretty straightforward. It's just what? It's just a delete. Yep, just use this delete, and we just like to delete the fourth one. Okay. And yeah, I guess that's the things. The whole things I like to explain to you. Here is the post as JSON is what? Again, as I mentioned, if we just post as JSON, this method itself will what? Will convert the item. Let's say here. If we just use, you can see here, if I just like to comment out this part. And then I'm just use what? I'm just use this one, and then let's say put as a JSON async, which means this part, this item will be convert to JSON. Okay, convert to JSON, because as we mentioned, the JSON is the data format we like to what? Communicate over through the internet. Okay. Sanjib, did you get my idea? Yeah, but if this is first, and the second, if we do not like to use a put as a JSON, so if we like to straight away use this put as sync, and then so you can see we need to what? We need to, being a developer, we need to convert that one as a JSON format. To get my point, right? Okay, so in some sense, maybe just use the version as JSON, maybe a little bit easy for us. Okay, a little bit easy for us. I guess that's the whole things I like to cover today. And then, so if we just back to the project. So basically you can see we already finished majority of them. Only things we left here is what? Use Apogee to manage your publish API, and use manager to enable API key, and generate a portal to support potential API client, so that the potential client be able to see your API metadata. Okay, so only this 5 mark we haven't finished yet. And then so we will finish next week. This is the next week's focus. But you can feel free to implement your API, to implement your client. Now, because only difference here is next week, after next week, we may just add what? API key in your client. Okay, API key in your client. I guess that's the whole things for today. For those of you, if you somehow you have not get chance to follow to get to the executable or published executable API, I mean the workable API, and then so you just really try in your spare time. Okay, try in your spare time. I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much.
Professor?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Yeah, just one question, Professor. Regarding architecture diagram, do you have any guideline, anything?
Okay, so the architecture here is, let's say, it's just because, again, as I said, some of you really just confused a little bit. Let's say that one. Just to use. Okay. So let's say this, because I really like you guys figured out what the data you have. DB not necessary to be relational database. It can be NoSQL database as well. You need to specify the data. Okay, so what the data really you focus. You for sure again as I mentioned, because we do not have data, but we just assume we have data, right? This is first. And the second, here is our API. Okay. And it is your API really what? Really communicate with your database. And here is sometimes maybe if not third party, maybe internal user, but in different department. And then so in this case, here is your client, right? You need to know your client, without this API, your client will not able to access the data within your database. Okay. So in this case, this is a sort of, I really like you to what? After you draw these types of architecture, you have a better understanding of your API, because let's say some people say, yeah, okay, so this client is also the internal client. It is okay, but it's within the same department. If within the same department, I don't think it makes sense to use API. Okay, because in this case, normally within one organization, we are able to straight away to access the data, right? So that's why I'm always use Air Canada or airline, any airline. Okay. So let's say here is, if I'm just to say Air Canada, here is the flight information. A majority time, this data will be public data. Okay. Which means it does not include any personal information, because in North America, in Europe, and then the government has some regulations for personal data sharing, right? So that's why we'd better not use any sort of private data here. Okay, so that's why always public. Let's say Air Canada or airline, there's a flight information is public, but for sure they will not share their travelers' personal information. Okay, this is first. Second, we say, the reason why they just like to provide API, they get some benefit, right? And then so for the client, why they just like to consume your API, they're able to get the benefit. Okay, so for instance, as I said, Air Canada, okay? So Air Canada, they operate flight, right? And then so to